Welcome to a journey of survival, chaos, and heart-stopping twists. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button for more thrilling and chilling stories like this.
The morning Yuri Pavlov decided to retire was the morning the world ended. Moscow's winter sun was still crawling its way above the skyline when Yuri tightened the straps of his old fire rescue boots for the last time. He stood in the empty locker room of Firehouse 27, staring at his reflection in the dented metal mirror. Gray hair, soot-etched wrinkles, a man whose entire life had been devoted to saving strangers. Behind him, his loyal Labrador retriever, Baran, sat patiently, with alert ears, tail gently brushing the cold tiled floor. "This is it, boy," Yuri whispered. Baran nuzzled his hand. A quiet morning, too quiet for Moscow. Outside, the wind howled through the narrow streets, snow drifted like white ash from a burning world, the kind of quiet that feels like something is holding its breath. Yuri didn't know that across the river, near the Kremlin, soldiers were already falling to something unspeakable. He didn't know scientists were frantically transmitting coded warnings that never reached the right people. He didn't know that within hours his entire country would collapse. He only knew this. He promised his grandson Maxim they would celebrate his retirement with hot chocolate and a movie. That was the plan, a simple, quiet evening. A life finally at peace. But peace had other plans. At 8:43 a.m., the firehouse radios crackled wildly. All units, mass casualty event, unknown pathogen, multiple violent assaults reported, civilian riots, medical collapse. Static. Then screams. Then nothing. Yuri froze. This wasn't a fire. This wasn't an accident. He rushed outside and saw smoke rising from central Moscow. Helicopters roared overhead, sirens echoed from every street. People were running, stumbling, bleeding, collapsing. Baran growled low, sensing danger long before Yuri could understand it. A police van screeched around the corner, crashed into a lamppost, and 3 officers spilled out, 2 trying to restrain the third who was convulsing, frothing, and snapping viciously at them like an animal. Yuri stepped forward. "Officer, what happened?" One officer screamed, "Stay back! He's infected! Don't!" The infected man broke free. His eyes were milky, veins bulging black. He lunged at Yuri with horrifying speed. Baran leapt in front, barking ferociously. Yuri grabbed a fire axe from the emergency cabinet. One swing. Crack. Silence. Except Yuri's heartbeat, pounding uncontrollably. What is this?" he whispered. The officer trembled. "It started in the metro. Some kind of disease. Bite spreads it. Don't touch the bodies. Don't..." A deafening explosion shook the city. A giant plume of fire bloomed near the Kremlin. Yuri stared in horror as the iconic towers crumbled into dust. The Kremlin, the heart of Russia, had fallen, and with it, the nation's command. Moscow became a battlefield. Yuri didn't wait for orders. He had only one mission now: find Maxim. His grandson lived northeast, near Prospect Mira, an area now engulfed in chaos. Yuri grabbed Baran's collar, rushed to the old fire engine parked behind the station, and started the engine. The siren wailed as he drove into the storm of humanity tearing itself apart. Bodies littered the streets. Some moved, some twitched, some rose again. Cars were overturned, people ran in all directions, fires raged unchecked. The dead were fast, violent, and they hunted by sound. Baran barked at the roadblock ahead, military trucks forming a barricade. A soldier pointed his rifle. "This zone is sealed. Civilians must..." Yuri leaned out. "My grandson is trapped nearby. I have to get through." "No one gets through," the soldier shouted. His voice cracked with fear. "They're everywhere. The infected don't feel pain. They don't stop. We're losing control." Another explosion thundered behind them as hundreds of infected civilians stormed a shopping mall. Some climbed walls like spiders, shrieking. The soldier swallowed hard. If you try to cross, you won't survive. Yuri stared past him, smoke rising from the direction of Maxim's neighborhood. I'm a firefighter. I didn't spend my life saving strangers just to abandon my own blood. The soldier hesitated, then stepped aside. God help you, comrade. Yuri drove on. As he approached Prospect Mira, the streets narrowed and the smell of smoke thickened. Something burned, a mixture of plastic, gasoline, and flesh. Baran whined, nudging Yuri's arm. I know, boy, stay close. At the edge of the neighborhood, a collapsed metro entrance revealed twisted metal and crushed bodies. People screamed from beneath the rubble, others fled from something inside, something dragging itself upward. Yuri slowed the truck. A woman in a torn paramedic uniform waved frantically. You, stop, please! Her face was covered in blood, not her own. Yuri halted. Get in. She jumped aboard with a medical bag clutched to her chest. I'm Irina Volkova. There are survivors trapped below, but there's something else. The infected are mutating, faster every hour. Yuri gripped the wheel. My grandson is trapped nearby. Irina's face softened. Then let's go find him. They navigated the smoking ruins until they reached Maxim's apartment building, a 5-story block half collapsed from an explosion. The ground trembled as distant hordes growled. Yuri jumped out, Baran racing ahead. Maxim! Yuri shouted. His voice echoed against broken concrete. A faint cry responded. Deda! Grandfather! Yuri's heart nearly stopped. The voice came from the second floor, partially hanging over an abyss. Irina steadied him. We must move carefully. The structure is unstable. The inside was a nightmare. Blood smeared the walls, doors broken, shadowy movements everywhere. Baran sniffed the air and growled. Something crawled across the ceiling. Fast. Irina whispered, Don't look up. Too late. A half-turned infected woman launched herself at them with unnatural speed. Yuri swung his axe, barely dodging as she crashed into broken furniture. Irina stabbed her with a metal rod. They reached Maxim's room, what remained of it. There, huddled between fallen beams, was Maxim, shaking, clutching a blanket. Dada! Yuri dropped his axe and pulled the boy into his arms. I've got you, Maxim. I'm here. But before they could leave, a distant roar echoed, hundreds of infected drawn to the noise. Irina looked out the shattered window. We can't go back the way we came. They're surrounding the building. Maxim trembled. What do we do? Yuri scanned the burning skyline, the city collapsing, the streets swarmed. He made a choice that would shape the rest of the journey. We head east, he said. We're going to Kazan, the National Rescue Center. That's our only chance. Irina nodded slowly. Then from this moment, we're on our own. Outside, the hordes closed in. The real journey had begun.
Snow drifted across the broken streets like ashes from a burned-out future. Yuri Pavlov, Maxim, Irina, and the Labrador Burin moved through the shadow of the collapsing city, sticking close to the walls, avoiding open roads where infected swarmed like wolves. Moscow was dying, and the living were becoming more dangerous than the dead. Deep in the distance, the Kremlin's final smoke plume curled into the gray sky, marking the death of Russian command. Helicopters, those that hadn't crashed, fled eastward, abandoning the capital. Sirens wailed and then choked into silence. Fires burned unchecked. Irina whispered as she checked her medical bag. We can't keep going like this. We need shelter, and we need food. Maxim hasn't eaten. Yuri glanced at his grandson. Maxim walked with his fingers hooked to Burin's fur, eyes wide, face pale. He was strong, stronger than most children his age, but no child should witness what he had just witnessed. "We rest soon," Yuri said, scanning the street. "There's an old fire station near the industrial district. Thick doors, reinforced structure. We can hide there." Irina nodded slowly. "If it's not already taken." Everything was taken now, by the living or the dead. They turned a corner, then froze. Dozens of infected shuffled, twitched, or crawled across the open road, tearing at frozen corpses. Some moved like broken marionettes. Others were terrifyingly fast, sniffing the air like animals searching for prey. Maxim gasped softly. Burin nudged him to stay silent. But silence ended when a collapsing balcony smashed into the ground. Every infected head snapped toward the sound. A growl rose. Then the entire horde charged. "Run!" Yuri grabbed Maxim and bolted into the alley. The infected shrieked behind them, gnashing teeth, pounding footsteps, claws scraping pavement. They were too fast, too many. They needed cover, something, anything. "There!" Irina pointed to an abandoned laundry truck. They dove into the back. Yuri slammed the door shut just as bodies slammed against the sides, scratching, pounding, snarling. Maxim clung to Yuri. Burin growled low, but kept quiet. Irina whispered in the darkness, "We can't keep going like this. We need shelter, and we need food. Maxim hasn't eaten." But then, a whistle. A loud, sharp, commanding whistle cut through the noise. The infected paused, then turned and ran toward the whistle. Someone had deliberately drawn them away. Yuri slowly opened the door and peeked. A man stood 30 meters away, tall, muscular, wearing a torn military coat, bald head, a scar running across his jaw. He carried a rifle, but held it casually as if he didn't fear anything. He gave a mocking salute. "You're welcome," the man said. "For now." Yuri didn't like his tone. They approached cautiously. Oleg smiled sharply. "Name's Captain Oleg Sidorov, formerly of the 5th Army Division, now leader of the zone, or what is left of it." Yuri replied. "We don't need a leader. We need safe passage east." Oleg laughed. "No one gets east without help. Not anymore. The roads are barricaded, bridges blown, and the infected own the city. But I can get you through my zone." Irina narrowed her eyes. "Your zone?" Behind Oleg, a group of desperate-looking survivors emerged from a warehouse, dirty, exhausted, frightened, armed with pipes and makeshift weapons. But there was something off. They looked more like prisoners than followers. "Yes," Oleg said, "my zone. I protect them. They do what I say." Yuri exchanged a glance with Irina. This man was dangerous. Maxim whispered, "Dita, I don't like him." Yuri squeezed his shoulder. "I know." Oleg stepped closer, eyeing Yuri's fire rescue jacket. "You're a firefighter, strong, useful." And the boy, he stared at Maxim, then Burin. "People want children these days, easy to control, good bargaining pieces." Yuri stiffened. Irina's hand moved toward her hidden scalpel. Oleg smirked. "Relax. If I wanted the boy, I'd already have him." He gestured behind him. "Come, rest, eat, and then we talk." It wasn't an invitation. It was an order. But they had no safe alternative. Not yet. Yuri nodded reluctantly. just for a moment. Inside the warehouse, makeshift lanterns lit a grim scene. Families huddled together. Wounded lay on blankets. Hungry children cried quietly. 2 armed men guarded the door like prison wardens. Yuri helped distribute blankets. Irina treated injured survivors. Buran checked corners for danger. Maxim shared a piece of steel bread with a little girl. For a brief moment, humanity flickered again. Then, Oleg approached Yuri with a metal canteen. "Drink," he said, "my gift." Yuri didn't drink. He waited. Oleg's smile faded. "You don't trust me?" "No," Yuri replied bluntly. "Good," Oleg said. "The smart ones never do." He leaned in close. "You have someone important you're trying to protect." Yuri's heart stopped. "What do you want?" Oleg's voice lowered, poisonous. "I know where your grandson was before you found him. I know which evacuation lists his name appears on, and I know someone who has seen him at the metro refuge before it fell." Yuri stiffened. "How?" "I control this entire district. Information is my currency." Yuri's blood went cold. Then Oleg said the words that changed everything. "I'll tell you what I know if you do something for me." Yuri forced his voice to stay calm. "What do you want?" Oleg pointed at a reinforced truck in the corner. "That truck runs, but it needs fuel. There is a depot 2 streets away. Infected zone. Bring me fuel, and I'll tell you everything about your grandson's earlier movements. Maybe even about the boy's mother." Yuri's heart pounded. He whispered, "Why does this matter to you?" Oleg's expression turned cruel. "Because fuel is power, and power keeps me alive." Yuri felt his jaw tighten. Oleg continued, "And if you don't help me, then maybe I forget what I know. Maybe I trade the information to someone else, or maybe I trade you." Irina overheard and stepped forward. "You're using a child's life as leverage, you monster!" Oleg smirked. "A monster? No, a survivor." He leaned toward Yuri again, whispering low enough so only Yuri could hear. "Make the right decision, firefighter, for the boy's sake." Yuri's hands balled into fists. They waited until night. Irina whispered, "You can't trust him." "I don't," Yuri said. "But if he knows anything about my daughter or Maxim's earlier location, I have to find out." "I'll come with you," she said. "No," Yuri insisted. "Stay with Maxim. Protect him." Irina hesitated, then nodded. Yuri strapped on his fire axe and stepped into the freezing night with Buran by his side. The depot was only 2 streets away. But 2 streets in this new world felt like a continent. Zombies patrolled the roads, sniffing, hunting, twitching violently. Buran detected them before they emerged. Yuri used shadows to move silently. They reached the depot's fence. Fuel tanks stood inside, half frozen. A generator hummed somewhere. Then a sound behind him, low, wet, unnatural. Yuri turned slowly. A mutated infected, taller, faster, veins glowing faintly blue under its skin. It shrieked and charged. Buran leapt to intercept it, knocking it sideways. Yuri swung his axe, severing its jaw. Another shriek, more coming. Yuri grabbed a fuel canister and ran. The infected chased.
Snow drifted across the broken streets like ashes from a burned-out future.
Yuri Pavlov, Maxim, Irina, and the Labrador Buran moved through the shadow of the collapsing city, sticking close to the walls, avoiding open roads where infected swarmed like wolves. Moscow was dying, and the living were becoming more dangerous than the dead. Deep in the distance, the Kremlin's final smoke plume curled into the gray sky, marking the death of Russian command. Helicopters, those that hadn't crashed, fled eastward, abandoning the capital. Sirens wailed and then choked into silence. Fires burned unchecked. Irina whispered as she checked her medical bag, "We can't keep going like this. We need shelter, and we need food. Maxim hasn't eaten." Yuri glanced at his grandson. Maxim walked with his fingers hooked to Buran's fur, eyes wide, face pale. He was strong, stronger than most children his age, but no child should witness what he had just witnessed. "We rest soon," Yuri said, scanning the street. "There's an old fire station near the industrial district. Thick doors, reinforced structure. We can hide there." Irina nodded slowly. "If it's not already taken." Everything was taken now, by the living or the dead. They turned a corner, then froze. Dozens of infected shuffled, twitched, or crawled across the open road, tearing at frozen corpses. Some moved like broken marionettes. Others were terrifyingly fast, sniffing the air like animals searching for prey. Maxim gasped softly. Buran nudged him to stay silent. But silence ended when a collapsing balcony smashed into the ground. Every infected head snapped toward the sound. A growl rose. Then the entire horde charged. "Run!" Yuri grabbed Maxim and bolted into the alley. The infected shrieked behind them, gnashing teeth, pounding footsteps, claws scraping pavement. They were too fast, too many. They needed cover, something, anything. "There!" Irina pointed to an abandoned laundry truck. They dove into the back. Yuri slammed the door shut just as bodies slammed against the sides, scratching, pounding, snarling. Maxim clung to Yuri. Buran growled low, but kept quiet. Irina whispered in the darkness, "We can't keep going like this. If they tip the truck." But then, a whistle. A loud, sharp, commanding whistle cut through the noise. The infected paused, then turned and ran toward the whistle. Someone had deliberately drawn them away. Yuri slowly opened the door and peeked. A man stood 30 meters away, tall, muscular, wearing a torn military coat, bald head, a scar running across his jaw. He carried a rifle but held it casually, as if he didn't fear anything. He gave a mocking salute. "You're welcome, for now." Yuri didn't like his tone. They approached cautiously. Oleg smiled sharply. "Name's Captain Oleg Sidorov, formerly of the 5th Army Division. Now, leader of this sector, or what's left of it." Yuri replied, "We don't need a leader, we need safe passage east." Oleg laughed. "No one gets east without help. Not anymore. The roads are barricaded, bridges blown, and the infected own the city. But I can get you through my zone." Irina narrowed her eyes. "Your zone?" Behind Oleg, a group of desperate-looking survivors emerged from a warehouse, dirty, exhausted, frightened, armed with pipes and makeshift weapons. But there was something off. They looked more like prisoners than followers. "Yes, my zone. I protect them. They do what I say." Yuri exchanged a glance with Irina. This man was dangerous. Maxim whispered, "Dida, I don't like him." Yuri squeezed his shoulder. "I know." Oleg stepped closer, eyeing Yuri's fire rescue jacket. "You're a firefighter, strong, useful." And the boy, he stared at Maxim, then Buran. "People want children these days. Easy to control. Good bargaining pieces." Yuri stiffened. Irina's hand moved toward her hidden scalpel. Oleg smirked. "Relax. If I wanted the boy, I'd already have him." He gestured behind him. "Come, rest, eat. Then we talk." It wasn't an invitation. It was an order. But they had no safe alternative. Not yet. Yuri nodded reluctantly. Just for a moment. Inside the warehouse, makeshift lanterns lit a grim scene. Families huddled together. Wounded lay on blankets. Hungry children cried quietly. 2 armed men guarded the door like prison wardens. Yuri helped distribute blankets. Irina treated injured survivors. Buran checked corners for danger. Maxim shared a piece of stale bread with a little girl. For a brief moment, humanity flickered again. Then, Oleg approached Yuri with a metal canteen. "Drink," he said. "My gift." Yuri didn't drink. He waited. Oleg's smile faded. "You don't trust me." "No," Yuri replied bluntly. "Good," Oleg said. "The smart ones never do." He leaned in close. "You have someone important you're trying to protect." Yuri's heart stopped. "What do you want?" Oleg's voice lowered, poisonous. "I know where your grandson was before you found him. I know which evacuation lists his name appears on, and I know someone who has seen him at a metro refuge before it fell." Yuri stiffened. "How?" "I control this entire district. Information is my currency." Yuri's blood went cold. Then Oleg said the words that changed everything. "I'll tell you what I know. If you do something for me." Yuri forced his voice to stay calm. "What do you want?" Oleg pointed at a reinforced truck in the corner. "That truck runs, but it needs fuel. There's a depot 2 streets away. Infected zone. Bring me fuel, and I'll tell you everything about your grandson's earlier movements. Maybe even about the boy's mother." Yuri's heart pounded. "Why does this matter to you?" Oleg's expression turned cruel. "Because fuel is power, and power keeps me alive." Yuri felt his jaw tighten. Oleg continued, "And if you don't help me, then maybe I forget what I know. Maybe I trade the information to someone else. Or maybe I trade you." Irina overheard and stepped forward. "You're using a child's life as leverage? You monster!" Oleg grinned. "A monster? No, a survivor." He leaned toward Yuri again, whispering low enough so only Yuri could hear. "Make the right decision, firefighter, for the boy's sake." Yuri's hands balled into fists. They waited until night. Irina whispered, "You can't trust him." "I don't," Yuri said. "But if he knows anything about my daughter, or Maxim's earlier location, I have to find out." "I'll come with you," she said. "No," Yuri insisted. "Stay with Maxim. Protect him." Irina hesitated, then nodded. Yuri strapped on his fire axe and stepped into the freezing night with Buran by his side. The depot was only 2 streets away, but 2 streets in this new world felt like a continent. Zombies patrolled the roads, sniffing, hunting, twitching violently. Buran detected them before they emerged. Yuri used shadows to move silently. They reached the depot's fence. Fuel tanks stood inside, half frozen. A generator hummed somewhere. Then, a sound behind him. Low, wet, unnatural. Yuri turned slowly. A mutated infected, taller, faster, veins glowing faintly blue under its skin. It screeched and charged. Buran leapt to intercept it, knocking it sideways. Yuri swung his axe, severing its jaw. Another shriek, more coming. Yuri grabbed a fuel canister and ran. The infected chased 5, 10, 15, until the entire street echoed with inhuman screams. "Buran, go!" Yuri shouted. The dog stayed close, dodging and weaving. Just as they reached the warehouse, Yuri tripped. The fuel canister slid across the snow. An infected pounced, and Buran slammed into it, saving Yuri. Again. They burst into the warehouse and locked the door shut. Oleg stood waiting, arms folded. "You got it," he said, satisfied. "Good dog." Yuri glared. Now the information. Oleg smirked. Tomorrow. Yuri felt rage ignite. You said. I promised nothing, Oleg interrupted. But do not worry. I always keep my word eventually, if I'm treated with respect. Then, he leaned in close again, whispering, Your grandson's history is more interesting than you think. Yuri froze. What do you mean? Oleg didn't answer. He walked away casually, as if the world outside wasn't filled with screaming horrors. Irina came to Yuri's side. What did he say? Yuri's voice was low, heavy. He knows something about Maxim, something I don't know. As the survivor slept restlessly,
The metro tunnels were cold, silent, and suffocating. Yuri Pavlov, Maxim, Irina, and Buran moved cautiously, their boots echoing against the concrete walls. The faint smell of mildew and decay hung heavy, blending with something metallic, blood, perhaps, or rusted pipes long corroded. Every shadow seemed alive. Every whisper of air could be a warning. Maxim clung to Yuri, murmuring, Deda, I'm scared. Yuri squeezed his grandson's small shoulder. I know, Maximka, but we're together. Nothing can touch us if we stick together. Buran growled low, sniffing ahead. Even the dog seemed tense. They had escaped Oleg's horde trap, but the nightmare was far from over. The tunnels themselves were treacherous. Collapsed passages, flickering lights, and pools of icy water slowed them, and the sound of distant scraping, scratching, kept their nerves raw. The undead below were fast, sometimes silent, and Yuri knew they could hear even a whispered conversation. After hours of cautious movement, they came upon a dimly lit alcove. A mother and teenage girl crouched inside, wrapped in tattered blankets. Their faces were pale, eyes wide with fear. Please, don't hurt us, the mother said, her voice trembling. Yuri raised his hands. We won't. We're just trying to get to Kazan. The mother's name was Marina, her daughter, Lena. They were starving, exhausted, and on the brink of despair. Irina immediately offered water and a small snack, easing their tension slightly. But Yuri sensed the mother was unstable. Trauma weighed heavily on her, and fear had a sharp edge to it. We can help each other, Yuri suggested. If you follow our lead, we all have a better chance. Marina nodded quickly, relief flickering in her eyes. Yes, yes, we'll do whatever it takes. For a moment, it felt like a fragile family had formed in the shadows. As they progressed deeper into the tunnels, the scraping noises grew louder. Shadows moved in the corners, and a faint moan echoed from a nearby shaft. Suddenly, a man stumbled into their path, a survivor, barely alive, bleeding from the head. His eyes were wide with terror. Please help me, he begged. I can't go on. I can't. Irina reached for her medical kit. Yuri hesitated. Every saved life meant slower movement, more exposure. Maxim's safety was their priority. Yuri's mind raced. Do we help a stranger and risk all of us, or leave him to die to protect Maxim? The man's gaze pierced Yuri. Please, you're a firefighter. Help me. Maxim tugged at Yuri's sleeve. Deda, save him. Yuri's heart twisted. He nodded to Irina, who immediately jumped into action. They stabilized the man and gave him water. For a moment, humanity triumphed, until a groan came from the tunnel behind them. The horde had found them. The undead emerged, mutated creatures with flickering blue veins, faster and more aggressive than before. The group sprinted through narrow corridors, Buran barking, leading the way.
The wounded man struggled to keep pace, dragging Yuri and Irina's patience. Yuri turned to Marina. "You need to run faster. Stick with Lena." Marina's panic was raw. "I can't leave him." "Then you risk all of us," Yuri snapped, his voice heavy. "Do you understand?" The sound of teeth gnashing echoed closer. The infected were relentless. Yuri's mind was clear. Maxim's safety was paramount. Every choice now carried weight. Every decision, life or death. Buran lunged at the nearest infected, buying seconds. Irina pulled the wounded man forward. Marina clutched Lena. Yuri pushed through the crowd, axe in hand, clearing debris and deterring the undead, but they were slowing down. Then, something unexpected happened. Marina froze, paralyzed with fear. An infected lunged at Lena. Without thinking, Yuri pushed Maxim out of the way and swung his axe. The attack was brutal. Lena was unharmed. Maxim looked up with wide eyes. Marina shook, trembling, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry," she whispered. Her fear had almost cost them all. Yuri exhaled slowly. "Focus. We move. No more mistakes." The tunnel split into two paths. One led to a partially collapsed maintenance shaft with a faint exit to the street. The other, a long underground stretch lined with twisted metal debris, seemed safer but much longer. The wounded man, already exhausted, begged, "I can't make it. Take the others. Save the child." Irina's eyes filled with tears. She knew he wouldn't survive. Yuri's hand tightened on the axe. He made the hardest decision of the day. The man stayed behind, barricading a collapsing door to hold off the horde. His sacrifice bought them precious minutes. "Go," Yuri ordered. "Now." The group ran. Buran barked, then darted back toward the door for a final growl. Yuri looked back, heart-wrenching, but there was no time. Sacrifices would be necessary if they were to survive. Hours passed. Exhaustion and hunger gnawed at their resolve. Maxim slept lightly against Yuri's chest. Marina clutched Lena. Irina cleaned minor wounds as best she could. The tunnel seemed endless. Every corner, every shadow, tested their nerves. Maxim asked softly, "Deda, what if we don't make it?" Yuri hugged him. "We will, no matter what. I promised you, and I don't break promises." But inside, Yuri's mind battled the weight of all the choices, the people they left behind, the man who sacrificed himself, the mother who panicked, Oleg's cryptic threats, the secrets he had yet to uncover. Survival wasn't just physical, it was mental. Moral compromises clawed at his conscience. Irina noticed Yuri's distant gaze. "You're carrying the world, Yuri, but we have to keep moving, step by step." Yuri nodded, swallowing hard. Step by step. Suddenly, the faint hum of machinery echoed through the tunnel. A pale light flickered ahead. Something large moved in the shadows. Marina whispered, terrified, "What is that?" Yuri motioned for silence. Buran growled low. He led Yuri and Maxim closer, careful to avoid detection. The group peeked around a corner. A warehouse of underground machinery had been converted into a strange lab. Mutated infected creatures were contained in glass enclosures, and at the center, a human figure worked with wires and monitors, a scientist, alive but unhinged. He glanced at Yuri and smirked. Ah, the firefighter and the boy. How interesting. Oleg's name echoed in Yuri's mind. Project Krasov, he muttered. The man in the lab turned toward them. Ah, the firefighter and the boy. How interesting.
A new layer of danger had revealed itself. Not just the infected, not just human cruelty, but experimentation, secrets buried beneath Moscow's ruins. And now, Yuri realized the true nightmare was only beginning.
The flickering fluorescent lights in the underground lab cast eerie shadows across the corridor. Yuri Pavlov crouched, Maxim clinging to his side, Baran tense and growling low, every muscle coiled for action. Irina whispered behind him, eyes scanning for escape routes. The man at the monitors, an unhinged scientist with gaunt features, muttered to himself as wires and tubes snaked across the floor. Behind him, cages contained mutated infected, some restrained, others thrashing violently. The smell of chemicals, decay, and metal filled the air. Yuri felt a chill. Project Krasov wasn't just a rumor, it was here, beneath Moscow. And Oleg had known all along. The scientist noticed them. He raised his hands, smiling thinly. "Ah, visitors, how delightful! A firefighter, a child, and companions. You've come so far." Yuri's act was ready. "Step aside, we're leaving." The scientist laughed. "Leaving? How pedestrian. Why leave when I can offer you a deal?" "What deal?" Irina asked, her voice sharp. "You, the boy, pointing at Maxim. You are of interest. The boy has properties inherited from your daughter. Unique, fascinating. I can keep him safe, teach him, enhance him. You, old man, can rest while I perform the experiments." Yuri's stomach turned. He gritted his teeth. "You touch him, you die." The scientist shrugged. "Threats are ineffective, but the boy's survival is intriguing. Think about it. Safety or death." Maxim's small hand gripped Yuri's coat. His eyes were wide. "Deda, what does he mean?" Yuri whispered. "Ignore him, Maximka. We get out together." The lab wasn't an easy place to navigate. The corridor split into two main paths. One led toward the maintenance tunnels they had used before, the other deeper into the underground facility, potentially containing more survivors or more traps. Irina studied the paths. If we go deeper, we might find weapons or information about Krasov, but we risk running into more of those mutated creatures. Yuri weighed the choices: protect Maxim or risk everything for answers. For now, the child's safety came first. They chose the path toward the maintenance tunnels. Baran led the way, sniffing the air, growling at every movement. The flickering lights above created a strobe effect, turning each shadow into a potential threat. Every step echoed across the concrete, threatening to attract attention. Hours passed. Their pace was slowed by debris, collapsed walls, and constant vigilance. Maxim's fear gnawed at Yuri, but he remained calm. Irina treated minor injuries, but exhaustion pressed on them all. "You've changed, Yuri," Irina said quietly, as they paused near a collapsed wall. "I've never seen a man so ruthless, but also so tender with a child. You've become hardened." Yuri's jaw tightened. "I promised my grandson I'd bring him out alive. Everything else doesn't matter." Irina nodded, understanding the burden he carried. Survival in this world demanded not just courage, but the capacity to make impossible choices. As they approached a junction, voices echoed from the darkness. They weren't infected, but human. Armed humans. A group of looters emerged, led by a cruel young man named Victor. His eyes sparkled with malice. "Well, what do we have here? A firefighter, and a little boy, and some strays? Easy prey."
Yuri stepped forward. "We're passing through. Don't make this harder than it has to be." Victor laughed. "I like hard. Give me the boy, and I might let you walk away." Maxim froze. Yuri's chest tightened. His fingers gripped the axe. Irina whispered urgently, "We can't fight them all. There are too many." Yuri assessed the situation. The only option was deception. He raised his hand slowly. "We don't want trouble, but I can give you supplies, food, fuel, medicine. Just let us go." Victor paused, tempted, but greed and cruelty were stronger. "I'll take your supplies and your boy," he sneered. Before Victor could react further, Buran leapt, teeth flashing, knocking him off balance. Yuri swung his axe, forcing the others to retreat. Maxim cried out, and Yuri pulled him into his arms. They ran through a narrow ventilation shaft, barely escaping Victor's gang. The encounter left Yuri shaken. The living were sometimes more dangerous than the dead. The shaft emptied into a flooded underground tunnel. Cold water seeped through Yuri's boots. They had to wade carefully to avoid attracting attention. Irina noticed a wounded man trapped beneath fallen pipes. The man was alive, but screaming. Yuri hesitated. The last man they had saved had sacrificed himself for them. Could they do it again? Irina placed her hand on his shoulder. "We can't leave him, not after everything we've seen." Yuri nodded, determination blazing. They freed the man together. The water was icy, the pipes heavy, but eventually he emerged, shivering. He looked at them with gratitude. "Thank you. I thought I was done for." Yuri simply nodded. "We move now. Keep up." As they progressed further, they stumbled upon a control room filled with monitors. Many screens displayed live footage of Moscow streets, infected herds, abandoned zones, and small survival enclaves. One monitor displayed the Kremlin ruins, and another a classified document, Project Krasov, Biological Enhancement of Selected Individuals. Irina read it aloud. They were experimenting with genetic modification, enhancing children with certain traits for survival or weaponization. Yuri clenched his fists. Maxim's head rested against his chest. "That boy, he's been targeted because of who he is. Because of her," he whispered, thinking about his daughter. Irina's voice was grim. "This is bigger than Oleg, much bigger." The revelation changed everything. Their mission was no longer just survival, but to protect Maxim not only from the infected and cruel survivors, but from a conspiracy that had orchestrated this nightmare. Exiting the control room, they heard distant groans and the echo of heavy boots. Oleg's voice carried through the tunnels, distant but unmistakable. "Enjoy your little victories, firefighter. The boy belongs to the world, and the world will claim him." Yuri hugged Maxim tighter. "I won't let him take you," he whispered, shaking with fury and determination. Buran growled low, eyes reflecting the tunnel lights. Irina readied her makeshift weapons. The underground labyrinth was far from over, but they were together, and for now, that was all that mattered. The nightmare was growing darker. Choices would become harder, sacrifices inevitable. And as the walls of the tunnel seemed to close in around them, Yuri understood. Survival would demand everything he had, and then some.
The tunnels stretched endlessly beneath Moscow, a cold labyrinth of metal, concrete, and dripping water. Yuri Pavlov's boots splashed through icy puddles. Maxim clung to his arm, shivering, Buran pressing close behind. Irina scanned every shadow, weapon in hand, ready to strike at the first sign of danger. They had escaped Oleg's horde, the looters, and the underground lab's mutated creatures, but the true threat had only begun. Project Krasov's reach extended everywhere, and the unhinged scientist, along with Oleg's manipulations, loomed over every decision. Every step weighed heavily on Yuri. Every breath reminded him of what was at stake: Maxim. And now the lives of those they had encountered, those they had saved or left behind, loomed like ghosts in his conscience. The tunnel opened into a larger chamber, dimly illuminated by flickering emergency lights. Shadows danced across pipes and broken machinery, but the silence was deceptive. Yuri sensed it. Something alive moved in the darkness, watching, waiting. Baran growled low. Irina's grip tightened. Maxim's eyes were wide, but he didn't speak. He trusted Yuri's strength. From the darkness emerged human figures, not mutated, not infected, but armed, ruthless, and silent. Victor's gang. "You again," Yuri muttered. Victor smirked. "You're persistent, too persistent for your own good. The boy is valuable. Give him to me, and maybe I let you live." Yuri's eyes blazed. "I said no. Step aside or die." The gang laughed, but before they could attack, Baran lunged, tearing through the nearest thug's leg. Yuri swung his axe with precision. Irina flanked them, wielding pipes and makeshift knives. Chaos erupted in the cavern. The fight was brutal. Blood, sweat, and fear mingled in the icy air. Every strike, every dodge was a test of endurance. Maxim trembled but held Yuri's hand tightly. "Deda, don't let them get me," he whispered. "I won't. I promised." After the gang was driven off, Yuri noticed Victor had left one man behind. A boy, no older than Maxim, terrified and cornered. Maxim saw him. "Deda, we should help him." Yuri's chest tightened. Another moral decision, another potential threat. Could they spare resources for another child? Could they risk exposure? Irina whispered, "We can't leave him. Not again." Yuri nodded reluctantly. They brought the boy with them, hiding him under blankets and reassuring him. But Yuri knew the more lives they carried, the harder survival would be. Sometimes saving one life meant risking another. As they moved forward, the tunnels shook violently. Dust and small debris rained down. A distant rumble grew louder. Structural collapse. "Run!" Yuri shouted. The ground cracked beneath them. Water surged from a broken pipe, flooding a section of the tunnel. They had to jump over broken concrete slabs, leap across gaps, and navigate narrow ledges. Baran led the way, jumping effortlessly, but Maxim faltered. Yuri caught him just as the concrete beneath him crumbled. Irina pulled the trapped boy to safety. Their hearts pounded. They were surviving, but the underground labyrinth was trying to crush them. Literally. Finally, in a twisted section of the tunnel, they saw him. Oleg standing beside a military-grade armored vehicle, a small horde of loyal survivors at his back. "Impressive," Oleg called, voice echoing. "You've made it farther than I thought. But the boy belongs to the world, and the world has rules." Yuri stepped forward, axe ready. "You touch him, Oleg, and you die." Oleg smiled cruelly. "You think it's that simple? I've prepared for every move. Every step you take has been calculated." A tense standoff began. The horde behind Oleg stirred, moaning and clawing at the concrete. The warehouse lab's mutations were in their blood, but Yuri wasn't backing down. Maxim pressed against his chest, fear and determination mixing in his gaze. Irina whispered, "We need a distraction. Baran can lead them away, and we make a run for it." Yuri nodded. Timing would decide everything. Baran growled and sprinted forward, barking ferociously, drawing the horde's attention. The creatures lunged after him, leaving a temporary opening.
Yuri grabbed Maxim and the other boy. Irina ran ahead, taking advantage of the distraction. Explosions of concrete and fire echoed from Oleg's vehicle. Victor's gang, remnants of the underground lab survivors, and mutated infected collided in chaos. They ran. Every step forward was a struggle. Water surged, metal scraped, and the echo of Oleg's mocking laughter haunted them. Maxim looked up at Yuri. "Deda, we're going to make it, right?" Yuri didn't answer. He only pressed forward, gripping Maxim tightly, heart pounding with fear, determination, and anger. Finally, they emerged into a partially cleared street. Daylight filtered through the snowstorm above, cold and blinding. The Kremlin ruins loomed in the distance, a symbol of death, chaos, and betrayal. But for the first time in days, they were not underground. They saw signs pointing east, the Kazan National Rescue Safety Center. Their goal was close, but the path remained treacherous. Maxim stumbled, exhausted. Yuri lifted him, holding him like a child despite his own fatigue. Irina carried supplies. The rescued boy clung to Baran, who refused to leave his side. And above all, Yuri felt the weight of choices, the lives saved, the sacrifices made, the cruelty witnessed. He understood a hard truth. In a world collapsing under the weight of zombies, human cruelty, and twisted experiments, survival demanded sacrifices, but also courage, compassion, and heart. And no matter what horrors awaited them in Kazan, Yuri knew one thing. He would do everything in his power to protect Maxim, no matter the cost, because the edge of humanity was here, and it was his responsibility to survive it.
Snow fell heavily over the ruins of Moscow, a relentless white curtain that blurred the remnants of a city destroyed by chaos. Yuri Pavlov carried Maxim across the icy streets, Baran leading the way, ears twitching for danger. Irina and the rescued boy followed close behind. The Kazan National Rescue Safety Center was close, at least that's what Yuri told himself, but the city had become a trap. Collapsed buildings, frozen debris, and the undead lurked in every shadow. And Oleg was still out there. Yuri's jaw was set. His hands ached from gripping the axe and his grandson, his body screaming for rest. Every step forward felt like climbing a mountain of fire and ice. Suddenly, movement in the snow, too calculated to be random. Oleg stepped out of the ruins, rifle aimed directly at them. Behind him, two remaining loyalists flanked him. "You've made it far, firefighter," Oleg said, voice cold, almost triumphant. "But it ends here. The boy belongs to the project, and I always get what I want." Yuri squared himself, holding Maxim tightly. "Not today." Oleg smirked, raising the rifle. The horde wasn't far behind. They had been following, waiting for him to strike. He had orchestrated it all, every obstacle, every threat, every moral test. Irina whispered, "Yuri, we can't take them head on. We need a plan." Yuri glanced at the frozen street. A partially collapsed crane towered above them. Metal cables ran across debris, offering a dangerous but possible escape. Baran growled low, ready to charge. Maxim clutched Yuri's coat. Yuri made a split-second decision. "Distract him. Baran, go!" The dog barked, charging forward. Oleg's loyalists fired. Shots rang out, ricocheting off metal. Baran's speed and courage drew their attention, giving Yuri and Maxim a chance to climb the debris and reach the crane cables. Irina pulled the rescued boy along. The cable swayed dangerously in the wind, the snow making footing treacherous. But they had no choice. Forward was the only path. Oleg cursed, "You'll regret this." The sound of the undead grew louder. Their moans, gurgles, and the snapping of teeth echoed across the ruined streets. They were coming. Oleg had lured them here, anticipating the escape route. Yuri, Maxim in arms, balanced on the crane cables.
Irina clutched the rescued boy, trying to steady herself. The wind whipped around them, snow blinding their vision. Oleg fired again, grazing Yuri's shoulder. Pain flared, but he ignored it. Maxim whimpered but stayed close. Baran barked, charging the horde, buying precious seconds. The dog's bravery was a reminder. Survival wasn't just about fighting humans, it was about protecting those who couldn't fight for themselves. One of Oleg's loyalists fired at Irina. Without thinking, Yuri swung the axe with full force, knocking the rifle away. But the loyalist lunged at Maxim. Time slowed. Yuri's mind raced. Do I save Maxim or take down the attacker? He chose both. With a powerful swing, he struck the loyalist, sending him sprawling. Then, with one arm, he shielded Maxim from falling debris. Pain seared his back, but he didn't falter. Irina pulled the rescued boy over the cable. They were nearly at the end, nearly safe. Suddenly, a shadow loomed above. The unhinged scientist from the Krasov project appeared on a makeshift platform, controlling a horde of mutated infected. "Looking for your boy?" he called, voice dripping with malice. "You won't leave this place alive." The mutated creatures surged forward, faster and more intelligent than any zombie they had faced. Yuri's heart pounded. He realized the true threat wasn't Oleg, it was the project, and now it had come from Maxim directly. Yuri scanned the surroundings. The cables led to a partially intact building that could offer cover. He whispered, "Maxim, hold on tight, we jump together." Maxim clung to him. Baran growled. Irina steadied the rescued boy. Yuri counted, then jumped. Snow and wind whipped around them. They landed hard, but alive. Behind them, the mutated creatures crashed into the debris, unable to follow. Oleg screamed in frustration. The scientist's experiments failed. Yuri got to his feet, exhausted, bloodied, but alive. Maxim hugged him tightly. "Data, we made it?" Yuri kissed his grandson's forehead. "Yes, we made it, together." They reached a clearing where Kazan's National Rescue Safety Center was visible in the distance. Smoke rose from emergency fires, signals of other survivors gathering. Helicopters patrolled the skies. Yuri realized survival wasn't just about brute strength. It was about moral courage, sacrifices, and choosing whom to protect. Anya, the wounded man, the boy they rescued in the tunnels. Each sacrifice had shaped their journey. Oleg was gone, for now. The project remained a threat, but Maxim was safe. For today, that was enough. Maxim looked up at Yuri. "Data, will it be over now?" Yuri smiled, exhaustion and relief mingling. "For now, but we'll always be ready, together." Baran barked happily, running in circles. Irina laughed softly, tears streaking her face. The snow fell gently, covering the ruins, a white blanket over the chaos. The world was broken, but not beyond repair. And Yuri Pavlov, firefighter, survivor, and grandfather, knew one unshakable truth. No matter how dark the world became, the bond between a grandfather and his grandson was stronger than any horde, any cruelty, any experiment. The Kazan National Rescue Safety Center became their sanctuary. Survivors were counted, treated, and cared for. Maxim ran freely, laughing with Baran by his side. Irina trained new recruits, sharing her experience. Yuri watched quietly, reflective. Moscow had fallen. Humanity had been tested. But he had fulfilled his final mission, not as a firefighter, but as a protector, a moral compass, and a survivor. In a world of darkness, he had saved the light. And for Maxim, the future was theirs to build.